hello, everybody. Welcome back to Sharing Your Journeys with Chuckz once again. And this is part two. He's back for part two. And we are so excited. So now we're on to part two. We're going to try and make a nice smooth transition from his first video, which I will put in the description just in case if anybody has missed it. So, Chuckz, oh my gosh. What do you want to discuss today? Because the platform, once again, is all yours.
Well, I mean, first off, thank you so much for having me back. I truly appreciate it. It really is amazing. It's honestly our first interview was super dope. And it was so great because obviously I promoted it, you promoted it. And then I literally got so many people who were like, "Oh my God, like how was it?" And how did the interview go? And this is and literally I was just like, bro, I was like, she's the sweetest person alive. Like, how can it not go great? Like your energy, your vibes, your personality. You're such a dope, down to earth person, Sony. Like a lot of people don't understand that it's like,
Thank you.
so many people on the internet are just so quick to troll, judge, hate, and it's like, yo, bro, if you can't, like I always say, you can't, especially nowadays, you can't judge a book by its cover
Yeah.
by one meeting or two meetings or one sentence or conversation, because so many people are so quick to jump to conclusions or assumptions that like literally everybody who asked, I was like, bro, it was dope. I was like, we were just having a conversation. We were just vibing out. Like it was great, So it was awesome. So I definitely appreciate you having me back. It's honestly a pleasure to be here. It's an honor to be here. It really does mean a lot to me.
Likewise, likewise.
Um, I mean, I will from pretty much where we continued from last time. I mean, obviously we just kind of talked about um where I started, how I started, where I'm from and all that. But I mean, just to pretty much continue, I mean, what I would love to talk to you about today was just kind of just more getting into why I'm not afraid to wear nylons, and then why I'm not afraid to show it, and why I truly do believe that other people shouldn't be concerned, and not just nylons. I mean anything. So it was actually interesting because I knew we were going to have this interview today. And I do Uber as a job just because the flexibility is a lot better for me.
Cool.
Um, I've been driving since I've been driving since I was 16 years old, and then got my license at 17. But then it was, my family was literally one of those like, oh, you can drive now. Here's the keys. Bye. Like
Yeah.
I had to drive everyone everywhere. So driving never phases me. And I'm a very good driver. I know a lot of people would like to be like, oh, I'm good. No, no, no. I know I'm a good driver. Okay. I can drive. All
I
right,
get
bro.
that.
But it never bothers me to drive. So it was very funny that I was literally driving around doing deliveries today. And I was just thinking, I was like, you know what? I was like, I would love to talk about this on our interview. And I think one of the biggest things, a lot of people, I get a lot of messages on my Instagram that tell me, like, oh yeah, oh, your legs look great, like, oh, you look great in nylons. And I'm always like, oh, thank you. Like that truly means a lot to me. It's so nice to know that there are people out there who look at me and they're like, oh, you look great in nylons. That I'm like, wow, it's such a nice compliment to
Yeah.
hear. But it's really interesting. The past few months, I've really gotten more messages of, oh, it's so good to see someone like you who is showing that guys can wear nylons and that you're not afraid of it. And I got a really nice message the other day where some guy was like, oh, it would be, it's incredible to see like I'm trying to figure out how to say it. Not like a spokesperson, but like a model of just like men wearing nylons. That he and then he finished off by telling me like, oh, I really hope like you climb to the top of like being someone to represent people who wear like men who wear nylons, and that there's nothing wrong with it. And I was like, dude, thank you so much. Like that really meant a lot to me. And it's I don't know, it's great to hear that, because the worst part with the internet, and it's so true, is like I said, you get a lot of people who will troll and talk a lot of smack and hate and this and that, where I'm like, I've always said the reason why social media and the internet fascinates me is not because of like inappropriate content or like comedy sketches or this
Mm.
and that. Like that's always stuff you can enjoy, yeah, sure. But I've always been fascinated by social media and the internet mainly, is because it's like, bro, I can connect with someone 5,000 miles away from me. And it's like they may have the same mentality as me, the same personality, but it's especially with the nylons, it's more of, oh, I'm not alone in this world.
Yeah.
And that's like that I think is such a big deal for people because it's don't get me wrong, there's always things out there where you want to be accepted for who you are, and that's one thing I believe. But I think so many people, especially, my age growing up where we were, it was, the internet was not a thing. Social media was not a thing, like it really wasn't. So like growing up, it was like, I really love nylons. I have such a big passion for nylons. No one around me was the same. So it was
Mm,
always like, I can't, who can I talk to about this? Who can I tell about this? And it's just very funny. I always feel like it's crazy how things just happen in life. But I was raised by women, like legitimately raised by a
yeah.
whole bunch of women in my life. I had no male figures like that. Um, my father was not in my life whatsoever. The last time I saw him, I was 4 years old. So
Yeah.
I was literally raised by my mother, my aunt, my great grandmother, my grandmother, my great aunt. So it was all women. But they were so strong and so like, coming from a Hispanic family, like the women really are like the backbones of the family because they will bust their ass in
Yeah.
so many things that they do and what they got to do, that it's like I have nothing but I've always had nothing but respect for women. Like I've always believed that, like, bro, women are the most powerful people in the world because of the shit that they got to go through most.
Mhm.
It ain't right, like it's not easy. It's definitely not easy. And I've seen my grandmother bust her ass for years, support my family. My mom has always been there for me. My aunt, I literally call her my partner in crime. Like, so I love my family to death. So I've always just naturally gravitated more to females. Like I've always just
Yeah.
been closer to females because of course I was just raised by females. So
Yeah.
that's what I was naturally comfortable around. And of course, like growing up, you know, my mom obviously dated, my aunt dated, it's always that, oh, a man is this or a man is that.
Mm,
But I've literally been wearing nylon since I was 5 years old, and of course the first thing you always hear is, oh, those are for women, those are not for men. That's not right. So of course that mentality of like, God, man, like I love nylons, I love to wear them, but it was always that image of, oh my God, no one can know about this. Oh my God, no one
yeah.
should see this.
Yeah.
And it does suck because for someone like myself, it was always like, I don't know, since I was younger, I feel like I've always just had a very different mentality to other people, not trying to say like, oh, I'm so much better or so different than others. It was just more of, bro, if this is for me, why does it bother other
Mm,
people? It shouldn't. It shouldn't
mm,
affect other people. It shouldn't be a problem to other people. And it was I don't it's very interesting because I think it actually came to me in high school. um I dated a girl in high school, and like some of the girls I dated in high school, like growing up, whatever, like I'd tell them about it because of course just like, hey, listen, like I do love nylons. I think nylons look beautiful on women, like I would love to see you in a pair of nylons because, I think you'd look gorgeous, you'd look sexy, and there's nothing wrong with that.
mm. Yeah.
And of course, thankfully a lot of pretty much every female that I dated would be like, oh, okay, like that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with
Yeah.
it and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So there was one girl who I dated, and she and I'll never forget this because I don't know. I just remember thinking to myself back then, like, wow, like I think I have a pretty strong mental, and I can kind of just look through a lot of bullshit and not things phase me, was because obviously only very in high school, only very close friends of mine knew about this, that I wear nylons, that I have a passion for them
Mm,
and all that. So of course I never really shared it like that. And then of course the girls I had dated, I did share with, even if we broke up, it was what it was. We parted
yeah.
our ways. Life goes on. That's just how it is. And I remember this one girl I dated, and then we broke up, and she was so upset that we broke up that, back then it was like everyone had like the small digital cameras to use, and you'd always take the pictures, like mirror selfies
Yeah.
and all that, before it was like on
Yeah.
all the cell phones. So I would take pictures of myself in nylons because it was just always more of, I don't know. I guess it's funny that I think of it now, but I guess I've always just been an artist in my life, whether it was dancing, photography, just things like that, where I like taking pictures of myself in nylons, but it was more of the aspect of, well, how do I look in them? Because
Mm,
like, and then I started to take pictures of myself in nylons and then like posing because it was like, oh, if I'm going to take photos, let me
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
pose, let me do this or whatever. Because then of course the internet started to come around, and then this is so bad, but I remember being 15, 16 years old on like a nylon discussion board that clearly was for people 21 and over.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm 22. Yeah. So obviously I wasn't supposed to be on there, but you know, who else was I going to connect with? Who else was I going to talk to? You know, and don't get me wrong, of course there are creeps out there. There's weird ass people out there,
Mm,
but I'm a very big believer. That's why it makes me laugh when people want to be like, oh, you know, like a guy wearing nylons or a guy into nylons is so weird. I'm like, bro, there are 20 other fucking things out there that I could genuinely think that are way worse than this. Like
yeah.
this is really not that serious. But I would take pictures of myself. I would post them on this discussion board just to see what people thought of. I'd obviously crop out my face because I was,
Yeah.
underage and shit, but just to see. So it was so nice to be able to express that side, to
Yeah.
be able to have a connection with people, especially because people be like, don't get me wrong. Like always, man, you can get a guy commenting a creepy ass comment on any post on Instagram nowadays, and a girl could be wearing a fucking sweatsuit. It doesn't matter.
Mm,
But
mm,
of course, it was so nice to also see the other side of it of, oh my God, like, hey, you look great. Like, oh my God, they look wonderful on you. Like, oh, like this, and that. So that made me feel better, of course, because it was just one of those things where, wow, there are people out there who accept me for me. And there was
yeah.
no judgment, there was no hate. So it was a beautiful thing to feel.
Yeah.
So I dated this girl. I showed her, I'm trying to remember the name of the website, but I had a bunch of photos on that website that I could
Okay.
just take from there, post or
Yeah.
whatever. So she had the login information to it. We broke up, and she shared all those photos around my school.
Oh
And
no.
and then the kicker, this is my favorite, the kicker right here. Ain't this some shit? The kicker was my best friend at the time helped her. And this guy was like literally supposed to be like a brother to me. Like I knew him, I knew his mom, I knew his dad, I knew his brother. We'd always hang out. We'd like hang out almost damn near every day. This guy was supposed to be like my brother, like a best friend to me.
God.
And sadly, he, people change,
Mm,
whatever, however they go. And then I remember she did that. She literally had texted my photos or like sent my photos to a whole bunch of people around the school. And of course, this is high school. So gossip spreads, rumors spread, photos spread, especially where cell phones are now really starting to become more and more
yeah.
popular. Like smarter phones are coming out at that time. So of course, people are seeing shit. And I remember I remember a girl who was like one of my closest friends back then. She literally ran up to me in the hallway, and she was like, "Yo, there were these girls looking at photos of you in nylons in the cafeteria, like laughing about it."
Mhm.
And I go, "Wait, what?" And she goes,
Yeah.
"Yeah, they were like sharing these photos around." And I go, "Wait, what the hell?" So, of course, that phased me. Of course, it hit me.
Mm,
And of course, I felt some type of way. I'm a human being.
yeah.
But it was, I don't know, it was like after that day, it was one of those things of like, well, you know what? It's out there.
Mm,
Think what you want, be how you want to be, see it how you want to see it. I go, if someone approaches me about it, then I'll talk to them about it. But if not, life is still going to keep going forward. And I don't know, it was a lot of things ran through my head at that point because that literally happened in like March or April. And it was my senior year of high school. So I was like, bro, 2 more months, I'm out of this bitch. I don't
yeah.
care anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, I'm never gonna fucking talk to these people again. I really could care less. So uh I remember it was weird because I remember walking around school and I'm like, oh my God, people are probably staring at me or people are probably looking at me.
Mm,
But then I remember just kind of walking around and I'm like, bro, everyone seems to be going on around their day. Like it's like no one's
yeah.
really saying shit to me. And I remember this one kid like asked me in front of a group of people because obviously trying to put me in the spot.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, dude, he's like Charlie, because everyone called me Charlie back then." And he was like, "Oh, dude, I saw these photos of you like dressed in a weird way." And I go, "Oh yeah, bro." I was like, "That's my ex," and I was like, "Those are my personal photos." And she decided to share them because she just wanted to be spiteful. And then I remember he went, "Why are you dressing like that?" And I looked at him and went, "Why not?" And he was just like, "Well, that's weird." I was like, "To you?" I was like, I
Yeah.
was like, "I
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
care." And that was it. That was like literally that was like the only confrontation I ever had of it. And
Wow.
then it was like a week later, shit was done. Like it was like it made me laugh because like something something I want to teach my daughter and like future kids that I have or whatever is like, and I'm kind of teaching my nephew now is I always want to tell him like, listen, bro, when you're in school and when you're in high school, that
Mm,
is your world, yes, because that's what you're going to every day. But I want to teach them like, bro, fuck school, not in the sense of fuck education,
yeah.
but fuck school of, bro, you will go through 18 years of school with some of the same people, make new friends, blah blah blah. I go, but when you get out of school, you will realize how big this world is, and you will genuinely see how different the world is to school.
Mm,
And that's something that I don't know, it was just something that always hit me where I was like, bro, I'm not going to let what this chick did to me phase me or affect me or bother me when I was like, bro, life is short. I want to have a long, fruitful life. I don't care what any of you think because at the end of the day, I know for a fact that once I get out of the school, I'm probably not talking to half of you,
mm,
and I mean, don't get me wrong. I know some people who have lifelong friend from high school and that's great.
yeah.
But I can genuinely say from my high school, I think I speak to one person and that's it. Like,
Yeah.
you have all these friends or whatever, but bro, that's it. Life moves on. And it was like after that, it just started to kind of hit me of just like, yo, bro, at the end of the day, I am who I am. What I do with my life should not bother you.
Yeah.
Because if you're letting it affect you, like my whole question is why?
Mm,
I'm a very big believer in my motto that I say every day now is be your true self because this is why I say with the internet and social media, bro, be your true self, put yourself out there. You will be very, very surprised how many people out there in the world will connect with you.
yeah.
Even if even though it may not be a physical connection, that's fine. It's like we live in such a great day and age of technology that like, bro, you can go FaceTime a friend if you want to right now. That's
Yeah.
practically being
Yeah.
in the same room. You can have group conversations with people, that's like practically being in the same room. There's nothing wrong with that. So
Mm,
I always been fascinated by that where it was more of like, I'm just gonna be me. If you don't like it, that's a you problem. You don't have anything to do with me then.
yeah.
Go do you. I'm not gonna bother you. So why are you gonna bother me? And that's just something I've always believed in. So it took me a long time because in my early 20s, I started to hang out with like a lot more guys because I got into breakdancing. I got into b-boying. So it was like,
Nice.
yeah, so I've been dancing since I was 15 years old.
Yeah.
But the b-boy mentality, the breakdancing culture is very masculine.
Yeah.
It's like we're street dancers. So there's
Mm,
also that hip hop culture aspect of it where it's, oh, I'm a gangster, blah blah blah, this and that. So of course I never, shared this with my guy friends back then because I was like, oh, I want it to be accepted. I don't know how they're going to see me.
mm,
And it's so funny because I think back at it now, like me and my friends have very, very dark humor. Um, Literally when I came out about publicly about me wearing nylons, literally one of my group chats, which is like my dance crew. Oh
yeah.
my God, they all just started roasting me and started talking all this shit. But I was like, and I knew it was gonna happen. So I was like,
Yeah.
all right, that's fine. But of course, you're gonna come at me. Best believe I'm gonna say something back. So don't be
Yeah.
surprised.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
that's just how it is. So um but it's like that's okay because at the end of the day it's like, yeah, they may view me a little differently, but they're still
Mm,
not going to stop being my friends, and I know
yeah.
that. So that's where my whole mentality started to change a couple years ago where I was just kind of like, bro, like if I want to show the world that I wear nylons,
Mm,
if it bothers you, that is a you problem.
yeah. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, I'm doing this for me. If I'm not afraid to show myself to the world how I want to, but you're being bothered by it, it's definitely something on you.
Yeah.
Like it was very funny because I had commented on like one of my favorite things is like I'll comment random things on like random posts on
Mm,
Instagram, just sharing my opinion, just sharing a thought because
yeah.
we live in a
Yeah.
free world or a free country, whatever. And my favorite is when this is the thing that makes me laugh is I love going back and forth with people on comments on Instagram because then my favorite thing is this is what we're talking about. This is the topic.
Yeah. Mm,
You really went out of your way to go onto my page, notice that I wear nylons, come back to the post, and then comment, "Oh, what am I going to believe from a guy
yeah.
wearing nylons?" You really went out of your way to bring up something that has nothing to do with the subject, just to insult me.
Yeah.
So it made me laugh because, of course, you have guys who will go back and forth and keep pushing it and blah, blah, blah. But it really made me laugh because the other day, somebody said something about me wearing nylons.
Yeah.
So my reply to him was just like, yo, bro, don't be jealous. And then my favorite was he replied, he was like, all right, you zesty son of a bitch, you got me. And I was like, I was like, there you
God,
go.
that's so funny. I love that reply. I actually really like that reply. I might have to use that.
Because that's my thing. My whole thing is like,
Yeah.
yo, bro, you're the one who, like, I don't know. I feel like I have a lot of random epiphanies here and there. My mind, ADHD is a terrible thing and a brilliant thing at the same time. But I was realizing something the other day. I felt like where I'm like, bro, realistically, if you go into Instagram, right, you scroll through Instagram, what's the one thing you do to show support to someone? The easiest thing, quick tap, quick like.
Yeah.
That is a positive thing. That to me, it may not seem like anything, but that to me is a very positive thing because it's like, hey, I support what you're doing. Oh, I like what you did. Oh, that was a great video. Oh, that's a great photo. That's a way of showing support. That's a way of showing love. That's why it's a heart.
Yeah.
Bro, I started to think you realistically have to be such a negative person to go out of your way to click on the comment box and actually type out something negative. And I'm like, bro, that's so much more effort. And it mind boggles me because I'm like, bro, there really are just sad, angry people out there in the world. Like, bro, you actually, like, realistically, you have to put effort into being negative and hateful. And it's like, why? Like, I've never understood that. I always tell everyone, I like to be positive. I like to be happy. Don't get me wrong. You don't want to see a bad side of me because if I have to be like that, I will be. I'm not going to be some chump. But at the end of the day, it's like, bro, like I don't know. To me, you genuinely have to go out of your way to actually be negative towards something or someone. And then to me, I'm like, bro, why would you use that energy for that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, I just don't get it. I just don't get it because I feel like negativity is such a snowball effect where someone could be like, oh, you're a punk. You look like a bitch. Oh, F you and your family. But now you're just going instead of just being like, hey, hope you have a great day. That's it. Hey, love you. Appreciate you. Much love. That's it. And I just don't get it. I just don't. Because I'm always like, bro, what was the point of that? Like,
Yeah,
okay,
exactly. What have you achieved in this? Exactly.
like that's my favorite thing that's genuinely one of my favorite things is that, like, I always said it. I'm always like, if someone wants to be like, oh, you're a bitch. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you feel better about yourself? Like, because like I said it in the last interview, it's terrible when someone says something negative to you and you reply back, then they get defensive. Bitch, you started it. Like, I don't get it. Like, bro, you came at me. You came at me. Like, and don't get me wrong, now that I'm a parent, now that obviously I have to see things differently, that I'm a father, which is wild that I still think that, but it's like, I don't know, bro. I want to be that parent that when I raise my children, yes, they're going to be curious. Yes, they're going to have questions. Yes, they're going to think of things, but it just, it genuinely bothers me how some parents just don't take the time to explain stuff to their kids or make them understand things where it's like, obviously my children are going to be used to growing up with a father who wears nylons, but they're going to grow up seeing that. So to them, they're not going to think it's weird. They're going to think it's normal. So it's going to, and I'm happy about that because then at least I know for a fact, it's like, I want to teach them that, listen, you can be quick to judge someone. You can be quick to assume something, which is a natural human instinct, I feel like, but don't make that the final conclusion of it. I've definitely come across people where I'll never forget one of my best friends who I've known for years, and him and I used to dance on the same crew. I'll never forget the first time I ever met him. He was standing there looking like a cocky son of a bitch, chill. And he was a very good dancer. He was known in the scene. So meeting him, I was like, oh man, like I'm meeting someone who has a name out there. Like, this is very cool. For me, where I've always been like, bro, I'm a nobody. I've always said that, and I see myself like, bro, I'm just me. I'm not the type of person where I'm like, yeah, this is me, guys, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Even though my personality and my pictures and videos come off different, it's just more of like, I'm just being me.
Mm,
This is just who I am. So I don't go around boasting like, yeah, I'm Chuck, watch out, blah, blah. No,
yeah.
how you doing? I'm Chuck. Like, that's just me. So it was very funny because I met him and I remember my first initial thought was, damn, this guy comes off like with a cocky like attitude and like, like has this like bravado. Fast forward 2, 3 years later, this man's sleeping over my house. I'm hanging out with him every day. We having breakfast. We talking shit. And I'm like, bro, this guy is dope. Like he's just very cool, down to earth people.
Yeah.
Yes, he's misunderstood, which I feel like a lot of people could be misunderstood a lot of times.
Mm,
But deep down, if truly getting to know him, he's a great guy.
mm,
So, and I feel like that's the problem is that a lot of people are just so quick to, see one photo of you, one little video of you, and just instantly think this person's like this, bro. How are you possibly going to tell me
yes, exactly.
that you know everything about this person just by seeing them one time, talking to them 2 seconds? You don't. Because I don't care who you are, and I will always say this, everyone has their demons. As much as somebody will want to say, oh, I have a perfect life. Yeah, you may, but I know something inside of you bothers you. I know something inside you will scratch at you because that's just a human thing. Like it's just a
Mm,
natural thing to feel, like, and someone may be like, oh, but it's this, and that. Listen, bro, you may think, oh, I have like a perfect life, but you smoke. You're killing your
mm,
lungs. That's not good
mm.
for you. That's something you should work on because let's be real, you're going to meet someone that'll be like, oh, I don't like that.
Yeah.
And the first thing they're going to think
Yeah.
is, oh, he's a smoker. He's disgusting. But yet, you know how you are. But sadly, that's just how this world is. That's how society
Mm,
is. So that's just something I'm always just like, I want to push of just, you can see someone and you can assume the worst, or you can
mm,
see someone and think, okay, this is my first initial thought of them, but let me actually see what they're really about.
yeah.
Because you never know. You just never know. I think one of the most fascinating things to me is I remember this was a like an ad or a picture years ago that I came across, and it was literally like never judge a book by its cover because you never know. And it was literally a guy standing there with like this completely tatted up,
Yeah.
like looking like he should, be a gang member or whatever, like
Yeah.
how a lot of people like to do. He's a doctor. My man literally saves lives. Like you can't
You were like,
judge, bro,
oh.
because you never know. And that's the thing that makes me laugh with a lot of with just society is that so many people love to just hate or assume or talk shit or judge when it's like, bro, like the one of the worst things and one of the biggest things I believe in is for someone who does that type of stuff, bro, there's someone who's doing that to you right now.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't like that feeling. So why are you doing to others? And don't get me wrong, you get, oh, I don't care, blah, blah. Good for you. You don't care. But deep down inside, one person says one wrong thing to you, you're gonna
Yeah.
snap.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
I, I'm
Definitely.
I'm the type of person of yo, bro, sticks and stones, bro. You could tell me whatever you want about me, my family, my girlfriend, my daughter, blah blah. Okay, let's have fun.
Mm,
Express yourself. I don't care because at the end of the day, once this moment is done, all right, bro, have a great day. I'm gonna go live my life. I'm not gonna go and think, oh my god, he said no, bro. It was just words. I don't care what you think, because then at that point, I'm in my head already thinking you're literally a waste of space in my life. So I'm not gonna entertain this. I'm gonna go move on with my life with the other people that I know I have that genuinely care about me, that love me for me. So why am I gonna give a damn about what you think or say?
mm.
I just don't. Like, and that's how I see it.
No, I totally get that, and yeah, yeah, I really do 100% agree with you on that. It is just words at the end of the day, and it is just, and it's remembering that more than anything to think, look, do you know what? It's that person's gripe, not yours, kind of thing. Don't take on. It's like don't like take on their monkey. Do you know what I mean? It's like there's another one I've heard. It's like, oh, not your dishes, not your sink, and it's like, okay, yeah, yeah, I like that.
Like it's funny because of course you have guys or like whatever who like to try to be macho men and blah blah blah. Like,
Mm,
bro, don't get me wrong. just because I wear nylons. If you touch me, if you do any physical harm to me, best believe I'm going to get in your face, because I'm not just going to let you hurt me. I'm going to defend myself. But
Yeah.
it makes me laugh because a lot of guys, I feel like a lot of men out there are so quick to be like, oh, I can't stand down from a fight or a guy talking shit to me.
Oh
Bro,
yeah.
why not? Just walk away. Because then a lot of people will be like, oh, but you're a bitch because you walked away, or you were a pussy.
Mm,
No, bro, I walked away because I don't give a fuck. Like,
mm,
that's my, like, it makes me laugh when people try to egg people on to be like, oh, yeah, look at this guy. He's a bitch walking away. No, bro, I just don't care.
yeah.
I'm not wasting my energy any time of my day with you for what? Because then this would be my favorite part. Let's say hypothetically, some guy tries picking on me, some guy
Mhm.
puts his hands on me. I'm not trying to say I'm the greatest fighter in the world. I'm just saying, what if all of a sudden I hurt him
Yeah.
or I beat him in the fight? What are you gonna do? What was the point of this? You're
Mm,
gonna, because the moment I let go of you or the moment that fight is over, guess what? You're still gonna keep talking shit like, my man, I already hurt you. Like, what more do you want? And that's the thing that makes me laugh. Is
yeah. Oh goodness. Well, okay. Sorry about that. um, Zoom decided, it was heating up. We had to cool down for a second.
Zoom felt me. He was like, my man, relax. It's okay. It's okay. But where was I? Yeah, sorry about that, people. That was my bad. I was on a tangent. But no, as I was just saying, just to finish off, because I feel like I've just been rambling on. It's just like, it makes me laugh how people just want to fight, where I'm like, why would you waste your time and
Mm,
energy for that when you can literally be using that for so many other things, bro? And that's just how I see things nowadays. Like, I
mm.
will always teach my kids, bro, defend yourself, but don't just go fight. That's just
Yeah,
stupid.
yeah,
If you want to go fight, I'll sign you up for martial arts. I'll sign you up to UFC.
yeah,
Go ahead.
yeah,
Like, you could go get your ass whooped over there. Go ahead. But like I just don't understand people who
yeah.
want to waste their time and energy with a fight or with an argument, blah blah. Bro, I
Mm,
have so many other better things to do in my life. I just don't care. And it
mm,
makes me laugh because I personally am a very big believer of, if a person is trying to pick a fight, it's
mm.
genuinely something in them that's bothering them. So they
Yeah,
think that has to be a release. But if you don't give them that release, they get more bothered because they're like, well, no one wants to react. Of course, because now you're not getting that attention you want. But then,
mm,
God forbid that attention goes, away south for you, you're going to feel even worse. So what's the
yeah,
point? I
yeah,
just, I just don't get it. And that's just how I feel. Like, I just don't get it.
yeah. No, and you know what? I do agree with that, because even sometimes I have the mentality of like, don't get me wrong, sometimes I'll fight back, sometimes I'll be like, "Do you know what, it's not worth my time." And then it does make me wonder. And then you think, actually, yeah, ultimately it's their issue. They're the ones who have found, gone through whatever channel to come all the way here to have all that energy to leave those comments, or wherever they're putting it. But I wanted to ask you something, right? And I say this from a perspective of hosiery wearers, just anybody. I'm not even going to say males, just anybody. Because obviously I noticed like a lot of people, who aren't. I hate the word closeted, because it's just I don't.
No, but I know what you mean. Yeah,
Do
yeah.
you know what I mean? It's like people who still don't show it, or just say like, their Instagram used to be public, but because of horrible comments have now gone to private, or they've come off it, or they don't know how to deal with it. What's like, I'm just trying to think, because obviously you're quite sort of out there. You're like, yeah, mate, I'll give it, but in a good way. Do you know what I mean? And it's just, what kind of like advice could you give to those who would love to wear hosiery, but probably are not as confident and as bold as you are? And it's just, well, I kind of want to be able to stick up for myself, but I don't know how, or I don't know what to say because I'm not that way. It kind of inclined to kind of fight back, and do you know what I mean? It's just, I just thought, I don't know, would you have any kind of advice to give to them?
I'm a very big believer of, I don't know. I don't know if this is maybe this is a Gemini thing or whatever, but I'm a very big believer of, the moment someone is negative to me or the moment someone thinks they're gonna affect my day,
Mm,
I make sure to prove to them that they're not.
yeah,
Because I've had the comments, I've had the DMs like, oh, you look like a like a fag, whatever, like
mm,
you look gay, look, and because you know, I hate to say these words, but it's just that's just what they're
Yeah.
saying. That's just what they're calling me. So of course, it's a very humane thing to feel a certain reaction at that time.
Mm.
But and don't get me wrong, it's taken me a very long time to be able to just kind of like gather that energy of that positivity of just like, you know what, bro? If that's what you needed to express, happy for you. But at
Mm.
the end of the day, my life is still going forward. Like
Mm.
your one comment is not stopping my life. Your one comment is not changing who I am, you know?
Mm.
And don't get me wrong, there are people out there who, I mean, you know, I've been a streamer for many years now. I've had people where I've banned their account, they've made a new one, banned a new one, made another one, just to constantly do. But then here, like I always say it, my favorite supporters are the haters. Because you want to know why? I
God.
know for a fact that I have the people who will be here who support me for me being me. You're
Mm.
coming back just to constantly hate on me. You're still giving me exposure.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And don't
I
get me
get
wrong, like of course, like yes, that's a negative exposure, and it's super
that.
hard to
Mm.
try to change the mentality of it. I don't see it as a negative exposure. But I don't see it as a positive exposure. I just see it as I'm news. I'm exposure. I'm a topic
Mm.
to you. So I don't give a damn if and I've always said this because people may be like, oh, that's silly. But no, it's true. I could have 50 people comment on my photo and one of them be like, oh my God, you look amazing in your nylons today. But
Yeah.
all the other ones, you look like a bitch. Oh, you're a cross dresser. Oh, you look gay, blah, blah, blah. Well,
Mm.
guess what, guys? You just helped my algorithm and now you literally just made my photo spread out to even more people.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
your comments,
Yeah.
even though it may not be the most positive, I guarantee you 7 billion people in this world, one person, because I've seen it, will go out of their way just to reply to every comment and go, well, what the fuck is your problem? You mad because my man just wants to do something on his own? Because I'll be that person. I've said it for Love and Nylon. You know, like
Mm.
I feel terrible for them at times because it's like I know that they've struggled with things of like, you know, it's been, oh God, dude, this is probably one of the worst things for me. But I genuinely think what bothers me the most is so many people out there love to comment on how someone looks, as
Yeah.
in body, how their
Yeah.
body looks like.
Yeah.
And I literally sit there sometimes and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize we were in fucking school again.
Yeah.
Like, aren't you like supposed to be grown ass people that are like you really go out of your way to write a derogatory comment about how someone's body is? When it's
Mm.
like, yo, bro, do you realize that there are women out there who are like plus size models who make 20 times the amount of money you'll ever make, but yeah, you're gonna talk shit about them?
Yeah.
You sound
Yeah.
dumb. Like you just sound dumb at that point because it doesn't make
Mm.
sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. So it's
Mm.
crazy to me because I remember one time Love and Nylon had posted up something, and then they were like, "Oh, if you guys write negative comments, you're gonna get blocked. It'll get deleted." And
Yeah.
I literally replied to their story, and I was like, "Bro, let me reply, please," because I was and it's not like I'm trying to start something, but it's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
of, bro, best believe if you think you're gonna say something, don't be surprised when someone says something back to you.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
like I said, I'm not trying to incite, you know, negativity or start a problem. It's just more of like, bro, you believe that you have the right to drop this comment. Okay, then I have to believe that I have the right to reply to you in a way that you're probably not going to like.
Mm. Mm.
Because at the end of the day, I'm now sticking up for someone else. I'm not trying to have an altercation with you. I'm just sticking up for someone else and supporting what they want to do because I believe in supporting people that they're comfortable doing what they want to do,
Mm.
especially if it does not phase anyone else. That's the
Yeah.
thing. Like
Yeah.
Mr. and Mrs. Tights in Florida, bro, power to them. They are so dope peoples because it's like, you know, they have children that are growing up around them that are
Mm.
seeing this, but it's like they're not like what negativity or what terrible thing are they showing their children? Nothing.
Exactly.
The only thing
Exactly.
they're showing their kids is, bro, if you're comfortable being a certain way, then be it.
Mm.
It's not doing any harm to anyone, so it's not a problem. And
Yeah.
that's the thing that bothers me because it's like, yo, I genuinely do believe that when people go out of their way to be negative, they
Mm.
are honestly either jealous or they're either so mad that they can't be their true selves.
Yes.
Because what is the
Yeah.
point? I just don't see it. As I go back to my original point, why are you going to be negative? I just don't
Yeah.
see it. For what
Yeah.
reason? to let out a comment or let out something you're thinking that one or two people may agree with you, depending whatever, and then that's it.
Mm.
Bro, life moves on. As what is this gonna do?
No, exactly. Exactly.
Like I've always said, if
Yeah.
someone walks up to me in public, oh my God, let someone walk up to me in public. My instant response, like, oh, bro, you look stupid wearing those, or oh, you look so gay. I'm telling you, my instant response, Sony, I'm telling you, is, oh, I'm sorry, bro. I'm trying to look for where I give a fuck about what you think. Because then at that point, they're going to stand there looking like an idiot in a crowd of people, like,
Yeah.
wow, you just tried insulting this guy and he just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
Because I don't. So what does it matter? Like,
Mm.
I just never understand how it's scary to see how society can be at times, but
Yeah.
it is amazing to see like how it is changing. But the
Mm.
problem is you'll still have this negativity and the bullshit, sadly, because that's
Mm.
just how it is. But me personally, I just think if you are afraid to if you're afraid to really show your true self to people, I think what people need to do is start off a little. Like it,
Mm.
when I first made the page, if you go to like my first what 5, 6 maybe posts or whatever on my page, I didn't show my face at all
Yeah.
because it was just more of okay, let me see the reaction I get
Mm.
or let me
Mm.
see what it is. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
and of course you're gonna get the hate comments or blah blah blah. But one thing I will always tell people is, bro, don't ever let any comments on the internet phase you
Mm.
because the one thing I believe is and how I call it, they're keyboard warriors.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
they are literally the type of person who will talk all this shit online, but I guarantee you they're in your face, they'll just stand there. They
Yeah.
won't
There
say
was a
anything.
single word.
But
They're
that's why I
always
always tell
there.
people like, don't get me wrong, there are some things that people will say that can really trigger someone,
Mm.
but don't let it phase you because at the end of the day, the real person who's sad in this situation is them.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I'm also very I'm also a very big believer of the reason why a lot of guys hate on my photos is because they probably look at my photos and videos and are like, damn, got some nice legs. And oh, it's a
Yeah.
guy. And it's like, ha 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 ha.
I was
Gotcha.
gonna say, I bet it's because of your bloody legs. Honestly. Honestly. You know, even then it was like I must have been on my Instagram like at work today. And somebody walked past and obviously I think I must have been on your account. Just just having a little scroll through because it's always nice to appreciate. And literally they were like, that guy. Yeah. So this is Chuckz in USA, he's a really good friend of mine and stuff. We get on and whatever. He's like, look at his legs. I know, right? They're really good, aren't they? And he's like, literally looked at his own and he was like, okay. And I'm like, I know.
I always say the joke, which I mean it sounds silly, but I always say the joke. I was like, maybe my legs and feet were meant for nylons.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll tell you time and time again, like your legs, boy.
And it's funny because like I was on another podcast and the co-host on the podcast, she was saying,
Mm.
she was like, it's crazy. She's like, you don't have chicken legs. She's like, you have very nice shaped
Mm.
legs. And
Mm.
because she was pretty much saying, like, you don't skip leg day. And I'm like, jokes on that. I don't even do leg day. My
I
legs
was
have
just
just
gone
always
for
been in
it.
shape. I don't know what it is, but my legs have just always been in shape. Probably because
Mm.
growing up, I played football,
Yeah.
soccer, real football. Let's get it right, people. I played football, but then of course dancing and
Yeah.
doing other sports and stuff that I guess just my legs just naturally, for whatever reason, just were just always in shape. Like my calves have always been big. It's just I don't know what it is, but I've just always had big calves. And it's funny because then I've had guys who try to be like, oh, those are like chicken calves and blah blah blah. My man, please don't start. Like
And I was gonna say,
you may
really?
have
You're gonna go there?
you may have some calves that are in shape, but you cannot deny the fact that my legs are just proportionally well.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what it is, but I've just always had strong legs. I
You're just
just
blessed. That's what you are, just blessed.
thank you.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Work of art. Like I say, it's work of bloody art.
That's why I can't. Oh man, I can't wait. I'm honestly very excited because I mean, for anyone who like doesn't know or whatever, like I do have an OnlyFans page. So of course, like, some people of course would love to hear that, but it actually recently came to me where I kind of want to switch up the page a little bit and
Oh.
I want to start doing like of course, like people automatically jump to assumption like whatever, oh, OnlyFans,
Mm,
blah, blah, blah. But don't get me wrong. Of course, it's like if you're comfortable like that, then be you. At
yeah,
the end of the,
yeah, yeah.
I've always said, bro, if someone like, it makes me laugh. I'm a very big believer of this. People here in OnlyFans, and especially if a guy has an OnlyFans,
Mm,
and then they're like, oh man, what are you doing? Here's my thing. You don't know what I'm posting up on there.
yeah.
Whatever I post up on there is for someone to enjoy. If you go out of your way to spend the money to see what's
Uh-huh.
on there, I don't want
Uh-huh.
to hear it because you went out of your way. Ain't no one forced you. Ain't no one made you bring out your credit card or debit card and put in your
Yep.
information. You chose to make an account. You chose to pay for it to come look what's on my page. So I
Mm,
don't want to hear it. No one is forcing you to go look.
yeah.
But I definitely I don't know, like I was saying, month of January was a very rough month for me, and
Mm,
I did a lot of internal thinking and just kind of like a journey in my own self of what I
mm,
want to do. And before I was posting up certain type of content that certain people will enjoy, which is fine.
yeah.
But now I'm really diving back into my photography, especially now that like the weather's starting to get better. I can't wait to do more photo shoots. Um I know Sony's gonna bless me with a photo shoot in the future, right? I can't wait. That's gonna be
Oh, you
amazing.
know it.
It's gonna be amazing. But I I really want to start doing, and I'm trying to figure out a way to say it because of course you know how people are, but I want to start doing exotic, erotic, whatever, because there's always like
Mm,
weird terms,
mm,
but actual photography.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I want to start modeling myself for photos and genuinely editing them and posting them on my OnlyFans.
Nice.
Because the way I see it is because we were talking about this on the other podcast that I was on, is that they were like, oh, well, what's up? They asked me like, well, what type of photography do you do? And I said, well, I love doing photography with nylons,
Mm,
but it's not necessarily because it's some sexual, erotic, fetish, kink aspect of it. It's that me personally, I genuinely do believe this. I believe that nylons can go with any outfit. And especially the ones that I love,
mm.
shiny, sheer, the ones that really stand out, it can give such an amazing pop to an outfit.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like I feel like because the moment people hear it, they just automatically jump, oh, that's you're a freak or you're weird, blah blah
Yeah.
blah. But it's like if you actually look at my photography, it's legitimate photography. It's
Mm,
not just,
yeah.
oh, it's only close up on her feet or oh, it's only on her legs.
Mm,
No, I'm catching the entire model. I'm catching the entire outfit, but you
yeah.
cannot deny to me that her legs don't stick out because of the nylons,
Mm,
which gives a nice, great touch, which
yeah.
I truly do believe. So it makes me laugh how a lot of people like to just
Mm,
think or assume or
yeah.
like I said, jump to conclusions when it's like, yo, bro, you're not me, or you may not have the same visual aspect as I do, but
Mm,
you could think and assume what you want, but you're not going to tell me what I already know I'm thinking. That's the
yeah.
thing. So it's just, I don't know. It's to me, it's always just been of like, and especially if I'm doing photography in a certain way, like, what does it matter to you? Because
Mm,
someone could be like, oh, but you're shooting with nylons and it's for this and that. Okay, but what if some random person out there sees my photography one day and they're just like, hey, I noticed you do photo shoots for nylons, but your
mm,
work is really great. Would you love to do photo shoots for our company?
yeah.
Hell yeah, I just
Yeah.
got an opportunity by doing something that I love to do
Yeah.
already. Why not? That's how I see things. That's just
Mm.
how I like to view things.
Yeah, no, and I get that, and it's nice that you do. It's one of those. I believe in that as well. It's just, you know what? Just keep doing your thing, and you know what? The right person will recognize it. It's like how you say. It's like imagine being able to shoot for a brand. Like, I love what you do. Do you know what? I want you to be one of our like just remote photographers to shoot X, Y, and Z. And you know what I mean? It's like, oh my God, all because I just followed a passion. I followed like a little dream of mine, and look where it's got me now, kind of thing. So
Oh
yeah,
my god,
I get that.
my ADHD is so crazy. Because I'm not saying like I feel like I have a pretty decent recall with certain things,
Yeah.
especially when something as an artist, as a photographer, when a shot catches you, I will never forget. Like I don't. To me, it's funny when a lot of people are like, "Oh, I'll never understand why wet nylons is such a thing."
Oh yeah.
But I think it's more of it's because it does give a different look. Like
Yes.
it's hard to explain, but you don't understand it
Yeah.
until you see it. But I'll never forget And this was Sony gonna judge me or look at me weird. I don't know. She's gonna be like, damn, your brain is
You
crazy.
say nothing.
No, I remember, I don't know, I don't know if you had posted the whole photo shoot, but I remember seeing a couple photos of it. But you had did a photo shoot like maybe 3 or 4 years ago now. Um, where you were like in a bathtub, like a bronze bathtub
Yeah, I remember.
with
I
yes,
remember.
but if I'm not mistaken, I think it was like water or something was being poured on your legs, or but I was like, bro, that shot was dope. Like it, like I didn't just look at it as, oh my god, like she's wearing nylons, like she looks great in them. It was more of like, bro, the lighting was fire, the contrast of the bathtub. But then, if I'm not mistaken, I think your nylons were darker or whatever. And
Mm,
then, but it was just like I was fascinated by that because I'm like, bro, that was such a cool artistic photo in its own way that I
yeah.
was just like, this is really interesting. So it really caught me because I was like, I'm like, I don't know. I'm a very like, it makes me laugh because there are people who would be like, oh, well, why would you wear nylons with like a bathing suit? But it's
Oh
like,
yeah, yeah.
and it's like, okay, fine, understandable. There's no reason to wear nylons with a bathing suit.
Mm,
But if it gives like a different artistic aspect of it, why
mm,
not do a photo shoot of it? It's just
yeah,
a different element.
yeah.
And it's funny because I feel like you only understand that if you view things. That's why it's so true. Art is subjective. Art is how you view it.
Yeah.
So obviously it's how you want to view it. But it just makes me laugh because I feel like this is just me personally. I feel like when a lot of people, like I said, jump to a conclusion, whatever, I feel like they have a very closed mind.
Mm,
I consider myself to have I'm a very open-minded person in the aspect of you could tell me one thing, I may view it like this, but how you're explaining it to me, I will genuinely sit there and be like, okay, I can see where you're coming from.
mm,
I can understand
mm.
why you're viewing it like this. Where some people are just so quick, they're like, nah, that looks weird.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why, bro? Like, well, why don't you open up your mind, see things differently? I always tell everyone, bro, the world is not black and white. It's very colorful. So you
Mm,
have to see the colors because it's really maybe at some point in life, yes, it was very black and white, which is true.
yeah, yeah,
But nowadays, internet, social media, artists, the way the world goes, bro, there's so many colors out there. You
yeah,
got to check out the other colors. That's how I see it.
yeah. No, and do you know what? Yeah, I totally agree. I can't believe you. Honestly, you threw me right back, you know. I was, oh my God, that shoot. I remember that shoot so well. But yeah, no, but I totally get it though. I think it is. It's, oh, I don't know the full saying, but it's when you see it through some, like, not somebody else's perspective, but it is, it's like you say, art, it's like you can put that one picture in front of 10 people, there are going to be 10 different perspectives on
Yeah,
that one picture.
exactly.
So, yeah,
But
I get
but see, but so like you're saying, it's true. This is where it starts to bother me. You'll show one photo to 10 different people.
that.
That's 10 different perspectives. So each person may not view it the same way. But if you
Mm.
take yourself out of the equation and put yourself to another 100,000 people, out of those 100,000 people, someone's going to view it the same way as you.
Yeah.
So why
Oh, yeah.
focus on the 10 when you can share it to a greater number that you know other people will appreciate it? And
Mm.
that's where I come from with a lot of things where, I've started streaming on this app called Bigo, where
Mm.
the first thing a lot of people will come in, hey, are you wearing stockings? Are you wearing, and I go, yeah. And they don't like, this is one thing I've loved is that so far I haven't had a negative reaction to it. They've just said, well, how come?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
simply share, well, listen, for me, from my side, I wear nylons because I love how they feel and I love how they
Mm.
look. And that's just me. And then, thankfully, because, of course, like I said, society can be evil at times, but the
Mm.
people out there have just been like, cool, I respect it. Because
Yeah.
it's like they
Yeah.
understand, bro, this is for me. It has nothing to do with you. I always say that, like, bro, I think all women should wear nylons because I truly do believe that they can give such a great pop to an outfit,
Mm.
or especially if a girl struggles with like markings or whatever,
Yeah.
bro, nylons will cover it up. You can now wear a nice dress or skirt that you were looking at before and not have to worry about your legs because now
Mm.
they're covered up. Now you're not so self-conscious about it. But at the end of the day, it's like, bro, to each their own. That's why it's like if I wear nylons, it shouldn't bother you. If you want to go walk around in a clown suit, the only thing I'm going to tell you is, my man, you ain't hot in that. I'm just saying, I'd be very hot in that.
Yeah.
but that's it. I'm not gonna walk around saying, bro, look at this bozo, look at this weirdo. No, do you? It's not bothering me. I mean,
yeah,
unless you're afraid of clowns, but I'm just saying,
yeah.
like, it ain't bothering me. So go ahead, do what you want to do. I'm gonna go live my life. You're gonna go live yours. That's it.
No, do you know what? Yeah, I totally get that, and I totally do respect that as well. It is, yeah. The world is a very funny place. But then I
Oh,
suppose I heavily believe in yin and yang. I believe there's always
yeah,
some
same.
bad to outweigh the good, and vice versa. And I suppose if it's always good all the time, how can someone grow? I don't know. Maybe not everyone will agree with me there, but I can't. That's my perspective on it.
No, I hear
I
you. Of
like the
course.
negativity to go with the positivity because it can
Oh,
only
same.
drive
Yeah.
a person. So,
But I'm a very big believer of the yin and yang as well. But it's like for I don't believe as for as much negativity, there should be as much positivity. I
mm.
believe is if there is the negativity, use that to get to the positivity.
Yeah, yeah,
There
it's
is a
finding that
way to.
balance.
There
Mm,
is a way to where some people be like, oh, there's not. There are ways. You just have to
mm,
really try to look into yourself and really just figure out how can I. That's
exactly,
really it.
exactly. Oh, well, do you know what? On that note, I think this is a nice way just to bring our Zoom. Um, I was like, going to say chat interview. I don't know what I want to call it. Our little, our little, our little conversation.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, just to a nice end. And like, yeah, do you know what? Actually, it'd be nice to know part three, just because I like your opinions. You're very much like me, and just for that reason, I'm thinking, oh yeah, okay. Do you know what? Let's pick a topic for like part three, and we'll wrap
Sounds
it up.
good. I
But
like it. Sounds good.
yeah, but no, thank you so much, Chucks, for coming on.
Of
It's
course, girl.
been an
Always. I appreciate it.
absolute pleasure, as always. And it's just nice to get your insight on things as well, just because, yeah, your viewpoint's different and opinionated. And you know what? I really like that. And I know a lot of people would appreciate that as well. So thank you.
Oh no, thank you, girl. I love coming on here. It really does mean a lot to me. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure to have you on. You know that. But yeah, but for now, take care, and I will see you soon.
You as well. Thank you so much.
Bye.